Troy inches closer to first place in the Sun Belt. It's Locked On Sun Belt.
You are Locked On Sun Belt, your daily podcast on the Sun Belt Conference, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
All right, Dave Schultz, Locked On Sun Belt, your team every day. Today's episode brought to you by Monopoly Go. Game off. We got to talk more about Monopoly Go. This fast-paced game lets you team up with friends for tournaments to unlock awesome prizes like unique stickers for trading, cool playing pieces, and hilarious emojis for taunting your friends. So download Monopoly Go now for free in the App Store or Google Play. Game on. All right, Dave Schultz, Locked On Sunbelt, your team every day. Hopefully everybody had a great weekend. We'll get to the Troy Cajun series here momentarily. Southern Miss had a great weekend, bouncing back very nicely. Thank you. The Coastal Carolina Chanticleers are in a free-for-all. And football-wise, JMU continues to lose transfers to Indiana. We hope the players, as far as I'm concerned, hope they're cashing in because that's a different game that they're playing there, as Josh Pate would say. All right, so let's start off with this Trojans-Cajuns game. And I don't want to use series. And Cajuns somehow hung on to win Sunday's ball game 14-13, okay? And I don't want to use, and I know people were doing this, I think fraud is a little bit of a harsh word because baseball is not a game that you win 16 in a row, all right? But I think it's a little bit of a mirage. The best team the Cajuns played or beat during that streak ended up being ODU, who's good, but that's the best that there was. Cajuns have not played well against Coastal. They did not play well against the Trojans, and they barely took 2 out of 3 from Southern Miss. Probably a little bit lucky. People keep on pitching to Kyle DeBarge, and people keep on getting crushed by Kyle DeBarge. I don't get it. Having said that, we got to give a ton of credit to the Troy Trojans. They absolutely took it to the Cajuns. And the way the Cajuns have worked out, right? They jump out, I think 2-0 on a Friday and got hammered. Let's see what the score was. 16-5. Got run ruled. Led, I believe, 2-0 and somehow managed to lose 16-5. I'm trying to be as, I don't want to say non-insulting. That's not the right phrase. I don't want to make it personal or anything like that, but it seems as if the Cajuns pitchers have a tough time getting out of jams with limited damage. I believe it was Friday. A lot of guys, maybe it was Saturday. Bunch of guys, 0-2, you're walking them. I will say it was a Kyle DeBarge error that allowed the 4 runs to get on the board because there was 2 outs, nobody on, and Debo, booted a ball, and a couple of walks later, and then a grand slam. The thing is, somewhere along the way, as good as the defense is, somewhere along the way, the pitchers have to pick up the defense. Somewhere along the way. You hear that all the time. Well, you were rolling. Why? Well, I trusted my defense, and they played really well behind me. Somewhere along the way, the pitching staff has to pick up the defense. And, Troy's bats are really good. You got, let me see if I can see the lineup because I don't know Troy's lineup off the right. You got Will Butcher, who only had 17 RBIs in like the first, 5 games of the season, right? Brooks Bryan leads the nation in RBI coming into the weekend. And Kyle Mock for, to top it off, 7 runs batted in Friday's game. And it's a 16-5 embarrassing run rule loss by the Cajuns. DeBarge 2 for 4, of course, with 3 runs batted in because they keep on pitching to him. But they lose 16-5, and Andrew Herman 6 runs, 2 earned, because the error, he still walked 2 and gives up a grand slam. David Christie, 4 runs, 4 base hits, inning and a third. J.R. Tollett came in to get some work in. Murphy Brooks, actually, they haven't pitched in a minute. By the time Tollett got in there, it didn't really matter. But, I mean, these guys were good. And remember what Barry McKnight said. The Cajuns actually did a pretty good job with Cole Myers and Ethan Cavanaugh, but they didn't really do well with the rest of the lineup. All right. At all. So Troy takes the first game. And then the Cajuns in a pretty good battle in the second game. Chase Morgan pitched pretty well, but LP Langevin did not. And the problem with what Troy was really good at, I could look at it from the Cajuns' point of view, but looking at it from Troy did a tremendous job of answering every time that the Cajuns scored. Cajuns take a 1-0 lead, Troy answers. Cajuns take a 2-1 lead, Troy answers. All right. The only time they didn't answer was in the 7th inning when the Cajuns made it a 5-4 ball game, but then they tacked on 3 in the 8th, and there was no come from behind chance for the Cajuns at that point in time. First time I've seen this year, certainly since he's been in relief, that I've seen LP Langevin roughed up. I'm not sure about the 2-2 slider, but was not his usual, we're going to mow him down type of deal. Chase Morgan, actually, these numbers, not quite as good as they would have appeared, because I'm pretty sure he left when it was a 2-1 game. He left when it was a 2-1 game, and then Langevin gave up the runs, although they were Morgan's runs. Chase pitched better than that line would indicate. Then comes Sunday, and the Cajuns finally, it appears, going to get an easy win. They're leading 12-6. Making a spot start, making a weekend start was McGehee, and 4 innings. He seemed to battle. Not sure if there's always a plan. It feels like we're going with a hot hand. And if you told me you got 3 innings out of McGehee, I'd be thrilled. They got 4, maybe pull them. That could be playing the results a little bit. Gotten into a little trouble in the 4th, and the relievers struggled. But they still had the lead, and they kept on tacking on runs. Barry McKnight's telling me all game long the only time they hadn't scored was in the 1st inning, and they're leading 12-6 heading into the 9th. 12-6. JT Etheridge can't throw a strike. Don't know what's happening. A 12-6 lead disappears, 12-12. Cajuns get a little bit of a break. I don't know about a break, but they got out of the 9th despite a 3-2 pitch down the middle. Called the ball. All right. Not blaming the umpires, but they missed that call. Cajuns somehow battle. Get 2. Connor Higgs hits a home run. DeBarge with a double, comes around to score on a Taylor double, and the Cajuns actually hang on for a 14-13 win. The reason they hung on in this game, all right, I'm not sure they would have otherwise. Although I think in his place, he played well, all right. They took out Brooks Bryant. Only 1 for 4 on the day, all right. And they put Hawkins in, but I think Bello was the one who kept on coming up to the plate. And Bello ends up, I think, did he make the final out? Like, I thought that it was, Bello made the final out because you had to walk Butcher. And if you walk Butcher, you're going to face the nation's leading RBI guy, except he's no longer in the game. So the Cajuns maybe have caught a break with that they didn't have to worry about that. And, kid put a good medal on it, if you will, and flies out to left. Higgs with a nice catch. So Troy, nonetheless, wins 2 out of 3, although the Cajuns stave off getting swept, I guess. And Troy is within 2 games, and I don't think it's secure by any stretch of the imagination. We have yet to see the Cajuns pitch well on the road. They did sweep Texas State, but we're finding out Texas State ain't all that. So let's see what we got this weekend. We know the Cajuns are at Georgia Southern. Troy is at Texas State, speaking of. And then we know South Alabama comes to UL to wrap up the season. Where does Troy end up? Troy ends up hosting James Madison. We'll see how JMU handles that. So Troy gets 2 out of 3 from the Cajuns. Made the Cajuns look bad. All right. Cajuns have given up 64 runs in their last 6 games to Coastal and Troy. Small ballparks, but 64 runs seems to be a little much, right? Pitched well against Southern Miss in their own ballpark, but they're going to have to figure out how to do things on the road. Like, goodness. Yeah. All right. So we'll figure that out. All right. Let's go over the rest of the Sun Belt from this weekend. When we come back, we'll also talk JMU losing football transfers to Indiana. We will do that after I tell you about LinkedIn and Lafayette Travel. When you're hiring for your small business, you want to find quality professionals that are right for the role. That's why you have to check out LinkedIn Jobs. LinkedIn Jobs has the tools to help find the right professionals for your team faster and for free. LinkedIn isn't just a job board. LinkedIn helps you hire professionals you can't find anywhere else, even those who aren't actively searching for a new job, but might be open to the perfect role. In a given month, over 70% of LinkedIn users don't visit other leading job sites. So if you're not looking on LinkedIn, you're looking in the wrong place. On LinkedIn, 86% of small businesses get a qualified candidate within 24 hours. Hire professionals like a professional on LinkedIn. LinkedIn knows that small businesses are wearing so many hats and might not have the time or resources to hire. Post your job for free at linkedin.com/lockedoncollege. That's linkedin.com/lockedoncollege to post your job for free. Terms and conditions apply. And Lafayette Travel. Escape to Lafayette, Louisiana, the happiest city in America, where every visit is uniquely seasoned with unforgettable experiences. Savor world-class cuisine, including mouth-watering boudin, savory gumbo, and piping hot crawfish, seasoned to perfection. Experience lively festivals that celebrate Lafayette's one-of-a-kind heritage. Explore magnificent trails that lead you through our rich cultural history and breathtaking natural beauty. Discover the untouched purity of our cypress and Tupelo swamps, where you can paddle past nesting birds and sunbathing alligators. Immerse yourself in the vibrant rhythms of Cajun and Zydeco music that can be heard any night of the week. Whether your passion is for our rich cultural history, the bustling culinary scene, or the distinctive blend of Cajun and Zydeco music, the happiest city in America has something for everyone. Start planning your adventure at LafayetteTravel.com/season. All right, Dave Schultz, Locked On Sunbelt, your team every day. I'd be remiss. Said Brooks Bryan had not a great game on Sunday. Did do well Friday and Saturday. Drove in 3 on Saturday. I think he leads the nation with 80 RBIs. I had to correct. They had a graphic that said Brandon Montgomery from A&M was number 1 in D1 with 73 RBI, and that's not right. No. And he had the 73, and it listed Brian with 76, but Brian, according to the website of Troy, had 80. So we corrected him there. And also Will Butcher only had 7 runs batted in on Sunday too. I think a 3-run home run and a grand slam. I'm not sure I've ever felt a team was not nearly upset about losing and more upset about winning than that ball game. That's an odd feeling. Okay, let's go through the rest of the Sun Belt. As we mentioned, Southern Miss coming off a brutal 2-out-of-3 series loss to the Cajuns, let a 2-0 lead get away in the 8th on Friday, and they lose 3-2. Let a 2-0 lead get away on Saturday. They actually won that game 3-2, and then the Cajuns bats came alive and they rolled to a series win on Sunday. But Southern Miss had a chance to rebound with Coastal Carolina coming in, and did they ever? They sweep the Chanticleers. They beat them 7-2 on Friday. They win 7-3 on Saturday, and they win and hang on 6-5 on Sunday. A crappy travel issue, weather issue, a 1-run win when it doesn't actually go the whole game is kind of a bummer if you're Coastal. And now Coastal all of a sudden has lost 8 straight. And they were very close to losing 10 straight, but they came from behind to beat the Cajuns down 10-6 because they've lost 2 to Creighton. They got swept by the aforementioned Troy Trojans, and now they've gotten swept by Southern Miss. And so I'm not sure what the Cajuns deal is, but if you still have Coastal, which is still in the mid-30s, you have Troy, that's 2. You almost had South Alabama, but now you got Southern Miss in this mix. I mean, the Sun Belt could be looking anywhere from 3 to 5 teams. Let's see. Southern Miss is up to 42. I mean, that's a good spot. And who do they finish up with? They finish up with, they're at Arkansas State. That's going to be tough because it's on the road and you can't lose. And then they get Texas State. Also not great, but winnable ball games. I mean, they could be some very good spots. I mean, Southern Miss could be right there in those mid-30s, right, where I was kind of hoping the Cajuns would be. And let's see where they are standings-wise. I didn't figure that. I didn't see that one either. I mean, they were 5 games back for the Cajuns, so that's not going to be that close. Troy is, or I'm sorry, the Cajuns are still first, 2 games ahead of Troy, and Southern Miss is only 1 game behind Troy, although now Georgia Southern is tied with Southern Miss, both 15-9. Cajuns 18-6, they're first. Troy 16-8, they're second. And if those 2 teams tie, Troy's going to be the number 1 seed. Interestingly enough, both teams 34-15. Southern Miss and Georgia Southern tied for third at 15-9. All right, elsewhere, South Alabama, I feel like they caught a bad break. They were rolling. They take the first game against App, and then rain came in. No games on Saturday. They had to play an early ball game, 9 a.m. Like, did App take BP at like 6 a.m.? Sun's up, but that is, I mean, if you're taking BP, you got to be up and eating before that. Goodness. But actually, South Alabama got on top with a home run to lead off the game, and that was as close as they got, unfortunately. App State put it on South Alabama not once, but twice on Sunday. 10-2 in the first game, and then 13-1 in the second game. So App is now 5th in the Sun Belt. South Alabama still lurking in that, well, let's check. I was going to say 60 range. Let's see. They're back down to 65. They actually, if you can imagine this, I think they were at 60. They actually moved up without playing yesterday because they've played some good games and some teams with some good RPIs and didn't move. Then they didn't play, and then they moved up. Well, when you lose 2 ball games, you're going to move down. They moved down to 65. So they're still on the outside looking in, and going to be tough for them to get to where they want to be without, a couple of sweeps, a couple of 2 out of 3s, probably not going to help them all that much without winning the Sun Belt Conference tournament. All right, elsewhere, let's see who else we had here. Those are the top teams, obviously. Oh, well, Georgia Southern. All of a sudden, it's Georgia Southern. Did they sweep ULM? Yes. So they are tied they had a doubleheader on Saturday. So they beat them 12-4 on Friday, 9-4, and 6-3 on Saturday. So they did some damage there. And everybody else, let's see the bottom of the standings, because that's where some of these teams were trying to avoid it. At the time, it was South Alabama. So let's see. You got to be in the top 10 to get into the tournament. Bottom 4 are Texas State 10-14, Marshall 8-16, Arkansas State 7-16-1, ULM 7-17. All right, so Georgia State and South Alabama are both tied for 9th, 1 game in front of Texas State. So they're still there. And all of a sudden, actually, they're tied for 8th. How about Coastal Carolina? Losers of 8 in a row. They're tied for 8th. They're all tied for 8th. All right, so we told you Cajuns first, Troy second, Southern Miss, Georgia Southern tied for 3rd. App State with their tie is in 5th place. James Madison is in 6th place. Old Dominion 12-12. They're in 7th place. Coastal, South Alabama, and Georgia State all tied for 8th place, as it turns out. Now, we shall see. Where does Coastal end up going now? Coastal has Georgia State and then at Marshall. I mean, sad to say this, but that probably should be 6 wins, right? to begin with. All right. So South Alabama, I know they're coming here here being Lafayette to end the season. Who do they have? They get ULM at home. That should probably be 3 wins. So they seem to be in good shape. Let's see who Georgia State has. Georgia State has, they're at Coastal and then Old Dominion. We'll see what they do. Old Dominion isn't bad, right? Kind of the best of the average teams, I guess. So we shall see. But Southern Miss makes a big move. Coastal isn't a free fall. And I think that winning streak for the Cajuns, I don't think it was fraudulent. I don't think that. I think it was a bit of a mirage. We'll see. All right. I will say today, a couple of pitchers, I thought Blake McGehee showed a little bit of grit, and Jack Martinez showed a little bit. Coming in and balking. What are they doing? He gives up a run, but then he gets a strikeout and a ground out and doesn't give up anything else. So those were the guys who impressed me today. I mean, Fluno didn't start because he had soreness, and then he comes in. Now I'm trying to figure that one out. JT Etheridge couldn't find the strike zone. Christie eventually gets it done in the 10th inning. So there is 2 weeks left in the baseball regular season. We do have the Sun Belt softball championship to talk about, so we probably need to do that for Tuesday's episode, as I believe it gets underway on a Wednesday. The first games are Wednesday. And it's single elimination, so not quite as, you're not going to waste a lot of pitching if that's the case. All right, let's take a timeout. We'll flip to football because these JMU fans are not happy with all their guys going to Indiana. Let me tell you a little bit about Monopoly Go. All right, game off. Let's take a 20. We got to pause right here to talk more about Monopoly Go. I know what you're saying. Flag on the play. I already talked about that. But there's just so much good stuff in this game. In Monopoly Go, you can team up with your friends for timed tournaments where you work together to build up each other's boards. The more you win together, the more awesome prizes you unlock, and there's so much to get. Unique stickers. You can trade with a friend to complete albums for big prizes. Cool new playing pieces to travel the boards with. Hilarious emojis for taunting friends when you smash their buildings or heist their vaults. Plus, Monopoly Go feels new and exciting every day with constantly changing tournaments and challenges. A ton include their own unique mini games like digging for treasure or a robot pachinko machine. And there's always new timed events that help you win big, like massive multipliers for everything you win or rent frenzies. There's always something fun to discover in Monopoly Go. So get off the bench and download it now for free in the App Store or Google Play. Game on. All right, Dave Schultz, Lockdown Sunbelt, your team every day. Excuse me. The portal is now closed, right? You can't go into the portal, but you can come out of the portal. And that's what we're seeing with James Madison taking all the players from, or IU taking all the players from James Madison, D'Angelo Pons out of Miami, a cornerback, almost a 4-star, getting there, goes from JMU to Indiana. All right. And here's the thing. I'm not going to besmirch any of these guys, but it is a thing. All right. And here's where, we can go back and talk to Josh Pate about this. And we talked about it with trying to play like a G5 playing in the playoff, that for a G5 team to win twice is going to be really tough. It's going to be tough for some Power 5 teams to win twice. Meanwhile, a G5 team. If these guys, it's one thing to play the App States of the world, the Coastals of the world, the Cajuns of the world. All right. The Texas States, the South Alabamas. The Sun Belt is good, but it's basically the same. Just like, you got the really good teams, you got the middle, and then you got the bottom. Same like everybody else, right? Big Ten, ACC, SEC, same thing. The problem is when you get these guys from JMU or anywhere else in the G5, and now they're going to go play the Iowas of the world and the Indiana and the Iowas, the Illinois and the Iowas and the Wisconsins and the Michigans and the Ohio States. Do we need to look? I mean, let's check it out. Indiana football schedule. Let's see what this is going to be like, okay? It may not be that tough. We'll see. All right. Do we not have the schedule here? It doesn't want to pop up. All games. I don't know. It doesn't want to pop up on my computer. Let's go back. Let's see here. Okay, see more. Okay. So they start off with FIU and then Western Illinois. Then they're going all the way out to LA. They play UCLA. Then they get Charlotte. So that's not the most difficult of all four. And Maryland isn't that great. Northwestern's not that hot, although they were pretty good last year, right? They weren't bad. Then you get Nebraska. They seem to be heading in a different direction. Then you get Washington. Then you get Michigan State. Then you get Michigan. Right. Then you get Ohio State. And then you finish up with the rival Purdue. Okay, so the beginning of the season isn't bad. But then you're doing Nebraska, Washington, Indiana, Michigan, Ohio State, and or I should say, did I say Indiana in there? Nebraska, Washington, Michigan State, Michigan, Ohio State, and Purdue. Okay. That is not going to be the easiest slate for guys who are moving up a level. If you go to a Sun Belt game, you see them and you see what they look like. You go to an SEC game or a Big Ten game, they're different athletes. They just are. All right. You can go, Cajuns are a really good softball team. You see what the Cajuns are, and then you see what LSU is, and they're all like 5'10". Cajuns are really good, but they're all like 5'5". Maybe a couple of them are a little bit bigger, but not much. LSU has a bunch of girls that are SEC athletes. And so when you're doing that, just be careful. I hope, like Smurf Millender, the point guard for South Alabama going to UTSA, I hope he got paid because I don't understand that move. UTSA, new coach from Alabama, whatever. Hope he's cashing in. And I hope these kids from Indiana or from JMU are cashing in at Indiana. Because good luck getting off the bench and good luck trying to keep up with, off the top of my, what was that? Nebraska, Washington, Michigan State, who's got the new coach from Oregon State, Michigan, Ohio State, and Purdue. Good luck at the end of that season. All right. Because that's not Georgia Southern, Georgia State, ULM, South Alabama, the Cajuns. It's not. It's, Sunbelt's fine, and I'm a huge Sunbelt fan, but that's a different level of football, and it's every week. I hope they're getting paid. I do. I hope the kids from JMU are cashing in. Indiana's a fine university. Good luck with that. But we hope that Curt Cignetti is not, or who's ever, getting these kids to go there, are going to hold up their end of the bargain. I counted 12 players from JMU going to IU. I did also count 15 players from, the portal going to JMU. All right. And that's going to happen with a new coach, right? Bob Chesney, the new coach there. So he's going to pull in new players. And they did get, I will say, for all of the players that are going to IU, JMU got a bunch of guys from, some Power 5 schools. I'm not sure if we're counting UConn as a Power 5 school, but Carolina's a Power 5 school. Mississippi State's a Power 5 school. Washington, Syracuse-ish. Vatech, that's pretty good. Vanderbilt-ish. So they got some guys from Power 5 schools that are coming down to the G5 that could make an impact. So I know it's frustrating for JMU fans because Curt Cignetti is coming in there, swipe their players. It happened with Billy Napier and the Cajuns, right? He's like, I'm not going to do that. And then he did and took some big time players and some coaches and some other players left because Billy left. So it was a thing. And it's taken, according to Mike Desimo, up until this point to recover from that. All right. So first year there was an excuse. Second year there was an excuse. Mike Desimo saying no excuses this year. They took more than first thought. So we'll see. Hopefully these guys succeed in Indiana. I am leery of, guys making a big jump when you're really good at the group of 5 level, and remember, this was a team that barely beat Virginia by 1, hung on in a big way. In fact, had to come from behind. It was a come from behind victory, right? They had a big lead, let it go, and then Jordan McLeod led them to a victory. So, and that's Virginia, a middling ACC team at best. We'll see what happens when they're playing against, Big Ten teams, and not one, but both teams that played in the national championship. Although, obviously, a lot of those guys are gone. No, that played in that game. All right. Thanks very much for tuning in. Over 1,200 subscribers. I guess the goal would be, can we get, we're in May, June, July, August. Obviously, we'll tone it down with some episodes, maybe in July. But hopefully we'll have, somebody who makes a run here. We mentioned it could be anywhere from 3 to 5 teams in the NCAA tournament. Someone getting into regional and, Southern Miss last year, making a super regional. Can we get to 1,500? That's a lot by August 31st. I'm guessing that's going to make my goal. That's going to be my goal. I think I said 1,400. See if we can get 300 in 4 months and see if it pops. And we're going to try and get that. We have done half, by the way, we've done half of the Sun Belt football coaches, right? We'll have hopefully Mike Desimo on this week. I know everyone says I always get the Cajuns, but that would be the first Cajuns coach since probably Mike Desimo. I don't think I had Bob Marlin on. Maybe I did. And that's it. Haven't had Jerry Glasgow on. And we tried to get Matt Deggs on to begin the year, and we didn't. So we've done 6 coaches, and we're hopefully getting, again, a couple of guys, the Bob Chesneys we already did, and Jared Parker we did. We'll see if we want to get them on again. And Sean Clark with the tragedy may be a bit before we try to get him. But, there are other guys, Clay Helton and Charles Huff and Del McGee. So, and Mike Desimo. That would be 10 out of the 14, I guess. I'm missing one in there. All right. Thanks so much for tuning in. Really appreciate it. Have a great week. And we will talk to you again on Tuesday. Dave Schultz, Locked On Sunbelt, your team every day.